Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. I'm not going to try the Mariah Carey thing. um, my name is Linda. If you're new to me and you're scrolling by, thank you for joining in. We have an eclectic little shop on the far west end of Main Street in Hyannis. It's located on Cape Cod, if you're not familiar. If you're ever in the area, please come and say hello to us. You can also find us online at Seaporium.com. We're authorized retailers for Iron Orchid design products, which we'll be using some tonight, as well as Dixie Belle paint, 3 of the lines. The Dixie Belle products, which is chalk mineral paint. It's ancillaries like stains and top coats. And we also have the silk mineral paint. It's an all-in-one paint, has a built-in primer and a built-in top coat, and it dries very matte. I love it. We're going to be working with that a little bit tonight. And Bells and Whistles, which has a lot of the DIY products. So I carry like their decoupage papers and some stencils. And if there's anything that I don't have in stock, you can always request it. We can do it as a back order item and get it in here for you. So, because, you know, we're a small operation here. People who follow me know. I just kind of jumped on, just kind of a weird thing. I was thinking Joe, my husband, was coming by, and I just said I was going to go live an hour ago, and it didn't happen. So you think after another hour I would be all set to go, but no, that didn't happen. I had a nice little surprise, though. Our friend Jackie, I love her, Jackie. She brought me my pumpkin princess. I can't wait to do something with her. So pretty, so stinking pretty. I can't wait. All right, so thank you, Jackie. That was a nice surprise. I love that. She knows that I love that pumpkin princess. So we're working some more on our kidney desk. We got the rest of our wash done. It's going to be something that's probably not easy for you all to see, but it's okay. And I did not mention that we are live on our website. We're live on Facebook, apparently. Hi, Shannon, and you're on YouTube. Thank you, right? Because it's in red. I'm learning. So, how are you doing? We're playing. I got my wash done. I sanded everything down, and I added my little wash of Dixie Belle's Clear Coat gloss with a bit of the Pigment X, whatever, right? Pearl X, mica powder in Interference Gold. So in some lights, like right now, I don't see anything on here, but I know it's coated. Here I can see a little bit of the gold peeking through. So it's one of those things like the stencil we did before. It's going to kind of peekaboo in and out. So I got the rest of that done today, sanded it and added that today. It's a clear coat gloss. So with the durability of the sea spray mix with the paint, I think that we're good for coverage, because I don't want to mess with our two-tone, not really two-tone, but the gloss and flat, gloss and flat, gloss and flat striping. If I try to coat everything in satin, it kind of takes away the idea of doing our sheen difference, isn't it? So, you're new to my channel, Barb. Thank you for joining in. Now, Barb, it seems like your name is a little familiar. Do you watch some of the Iron Orchid design videos? It seems like I've seen your name before. But thank you for watching. So this is a pretty piece. I have to still put another coat of gloss on our legs, but I'll do that before I leave tonight so I don't disturb it. Because, you know, gloss it's a thing. It's a monster. And let me see if I can tilt this down so you can see we got our stamps on, and they look lovely. I'm going to try, Barb, you're new to me, so I'm never that put together. But the good news is I'm mobile with my wireless mic, so we see where we go with these lives. That's just how it works. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, please, if you're watching, wherever you're watching, please share and sprinkle to your friends. It'd be greatly appreciated. And let's see, so that's one of the things I want to try to do is give this a light sand and maybe throw on a top coat, but I do have to grab a couple things if I do that. We're going to put this stencil, this is a bells and whistles stencil, it's called Lotus Bloom, and so Barb, this is a piece that if you scroll back on our Facebook page, you will see a bureau quite a while back, maybe few months ago, that I did custom for this gal. She picked out a piece that was on the floor, because my store, like I said, is eclectic, so it's my work that's out there, but there's not a lot of it left. There is a lot of my finds. They're just you know, this brown stain furniture. There's some garage sale, yard sale, thrift store goodies because I had extra room in my hands and I were a good price and they made it their way here. There's also local artists and whatnot. So this lady picked up a dresser and asked for me to do it, something for her. So we got it to a certain stage and it was just the blue and she decided she wanted to go further with it. So we did. And it was quite the undertaking. I kind of went above and beyond. So we added the stripes to the side, which you see the stripes here, I hope. To the sides of our bureau, we added the raised stenciling sort of at the little bit of the top, kind of broken on the sides, a little top, a little bit of the bottom, on both sides, and a little bit coming up the front. And then in the front, we also added over all the drawers a bunch of the molds in a cameo sort of fashion. I framed it out with some scrolling, I believe, from Olive Crest, and filled it in with seashells. So there's a lot going on. So I did stencil those drawers. So to keep everything copacetic, we're going to be adding this stencil. It doesn't quite fit, but you know, we make it work, right? It still looks cute. It still looks super cute. Hey, Bobby, how are you? You're back, girl. I'm so glad that you're back. I do want to call you because I'm hoping everything's okay for you, doll. But I didn't get out of here till late because you know me. You know me. So I guess I don't really need to keep this up here. But it's going to be interesting how I'm going to do this. So I should have probably just started with my silk project first. So let me get maybe another camera going here. And we'll do the top and get this out of the way. So Barb, you're going to have to bear with me. Bobby and Shannon know. They know my crazy. They know my kind of crazy. So let me try and get this into view with this other camera. This way. Okay, see how that happens? So I don't know if I can keep this switcher going. Isn't this pretty? Look how nice that came out, Shannon. It was a little lapsadaisical when I got done with my with the live where we did this originally, Barb, and so this part in here kind of came out much lighter than the rest of it. What happened is when I stencil with paint, when I stamp with paints, this is a stamps, I like to water it down. The problem is as the night went on and I came back to my project, my paint started evaporating the water, and so the paint was darker than it was over here. So I just kind of filled in, I taped off and sanded down, wiped it back, and put in some base coat. And that's the wonder of chalk style paints, because you don't get that high-low shines. So I just sand back, and it had the same finish as the rest of my sanded top. And I just restamped it. I just fit the stamp back in here. At that point, I took the tape off so I could see where I was matching up to, and I just filled it in. So, you know, there's one thing I do want to do. got ahead of myself. Some of these are kind of blurring, aren't they? So let me take a hot second here and do a little eyeball fix here. So this is the original paint color. There's not a lot left here, guys. Really, there isn't. But where I want to add a little more separation, I just take, again, I'm going to have a paper towel handy. All right, so I'm going to maybe add, oh boy, I can't even tell which side the brush is now. I'm trying to keep the video going and, you know, I get flustered. It happens, right? These girls can attest to that. So where are you from, Barb? It is so much fun. You're better today, Bobby? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad you let me know that, because, you know, and it makes me feel bad that I just didn't give you a call. But like I said, I don't like to be nosy. You know, like, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to create a little kind of a shadow just by adding some of my base color around. But that brush got really fat on me. It's good to have a flat brush for this kind of a thing, or one of those angle tip brushes. And if it was the angle tip, you would put the pointy part into your paint, and then you just let water sort of bring it into the rest of the brush. So the darkest part is on one end and it fades out. So let's see, this one isn't much better. I need to get myself some better brushes, don't I? And then I'm just going to kind of fade this out more with a little bit of water. All right, I don't like that brush either. This girl needs to get some brushes. This one might be a little bit better. So, again, the paint is just on the one side of my brush. And then we're just gonna, there's already quite a bit of water on there, and we're just gonna try and because it's the same batch as my my base coat, it won't show, especially since it's going on so thin. But this way I can kind of cheat and bring back some separation where, I mean, the stamp masks, I do wish, I mean, it's awesome that they made them, but I do wish that they were just the hair bigger than the stamp, so that when you do this overlaying, especially when there's a bunch of it happening, like I have, like, I got stuff coming at them from all sides, right? And when the masks fit just perfect, if I have it aligned, so let's say like here there's a border because I restamped it, right? But over here there is none, because when when you go to mask, you know, I have a bunch going on, and so I don't want to move the masks if I'm still stamping on this side and then I'm doing this side, and so if I move my mask slightly over this way, it makes it shy on this way. So you don't really get kind of a border on a big masking project like this, is what I'm saying. You don't make a mess of the other pieces. This stamp isn't going into that stamp, but it's kind of hard to determine a beginning and an end too. So that's what I'm just trying to give an illusion to here. And we're really not going to be able to tell until the paint dries. And really not that big of a deal. It's just me being a little picky is all. I could just take a fine brush and just make a line. So here the stamp is right on the other one. So I'm going to add just a little bit to that. Right? You guys all getting ready for the holidays? Let's see. Barb is in Oregon. Okay. And so, all right. And so, Shannon, you're in Washington. All right. We got Bobby in Mississippi. So, Bobby, did you have COVID? What's going on? I am fun? Well, that's good to hear, because it's no fun not being fun. Barb, I am different, that is for sure. I am different. Yesterday we were talking about my lack of cooking skills and tablescaping skills as I was doing a kind of, what people would do as a tablescaping project. We'll hopefully get to that. But I wasn't planning on this, so this is going to take up a little more time. Okay, and then right here, I'm going to add a little bit to give this a little separation right there. Maybe right there. Let's see, maybe a little bit more here. Okay, what do you guys think? Oh, I see another spot that would bother me. So what's your favorite thing to do, Barb? Are you mixed media? Do you paint furniture? Do you bake? What's your thing? No COVID or flu. Stomach bug. It grabbed a hold of me. This is Bobby talking. And went to the doc in a box and shot of phenephrine for nausea. Oh boy. I'm so sorry, girl. We were just talking about how, like, people are getting, like, regular old stomach bugs and flus or colds, and it's funny how it's like we all have to say now, well, it's not COVID. It's not COVID. Because, that really got ingrained in us, didn't it? There. So we gotta let that dry. But we can get, when this is dry, I'm not gonna go find my sponge. But let me find one I have right here. I will take my clear coat satin, because we have a bit of a sheen. I don't know, Barb, if you can make this out. Yeah, on the sides here, it's gloss with the Pearlex. Wait, no, this is, this is the interference gold. That's this mixture that we did a brush on over the raised stenciling. Okay, because there wasn't a lot of space to do raised stenciling on this particular piece. So I brought it to the top, as in it was like for the dresser, it was in the front of the piece on the drawers. And it was raised, but it had that wash on it. So that's the way I'm just tying this together. But I will take like a little Tupperware. I will put a little clear coat, all right? You know, whenever you have top coats, you want to stir it, not shake it. Pour a little bit into like a paper plate or a Tupperware or something. I'll take my blue sponge, lightly damp, and after I give this a sand and wipe it really good and let that dry, I can then take my sponge and just literally wipe on my top coat. I do that about 3 times. Oh, actually, because it's the top of this piece, I'm going to use gator hide. For the tops, I do like to use Dixie Belle's gator hide. It goes on super thin, but it's their most durable, most water-resistant product they have. And it doesn't leave that really thick, varnishy feel. I love it. It has a slight satin look to it when it's done. Especially if you build it up to, like if I'm doing a dining room table, I'll do about 5 coats. But that's versus if I'm doing like a satin top coat on a dining table, I would do about 7 to 10 coats. So, but let's go ahead and do a little stenciling on the drawer. All right. And then we can do the molds. So let me move my table. All right. And let's see what happens. I got a hot mess going on here. I also have our knob that I already did in our IOD video maybe. Or was it the other live that I did on my page? I don't remember. Shannon could probably tell us more than I could. So Bobby says, I wish I had room for all the projects you do. Aw, thank you. Thank you. And Bobby says, amazing that it makes such a difference. Oh, the light wash, it does. It does, it does, it does. And Barb says, furniture. You do furniture, Barb. Okay. I'm such a beginner compared to everyone else. Everyone has to start somewhere. You know, you don't have to apologize. Everyone has to start somewhere. So what I did, and it's part of the reason, it's part of this, my long storyline of getting this shop, is I was learning as we go. We didn't have internet, but we did have HGTV. You know, let me move this camera. All right, and then we can do this so I can feel like I'm talking to you. And so I watched a lot of the videos in the beginning, and I saw people doing some fun things. And I got books, and I just started playing in my house. And Joe got tired of coming into new rooms. And so he put up a poster somewhere in a Stop and Shop, and a lady called me on a Sunday night. I had no idea that he did this. She was saying, I'm calling about the painting. And I was like, wrong number. And he was like, no, not wrong number. And so it started that way, and I've somehow made my way here. But you learn. Like I took a project, poly ragging, right? Or sponge painting. Well, that was way back, sponge painting. That was back when I was toll painting. And then we worked our way to rags and doing some murals. And then I got a book about, doing more of the murals, and then trompe-l'oeil. Then when you're working with trompe-l'oeil, you start learning about other products and plasters. And, it was like it was a giant rabbit hole is what it was. But again, it wasn't like, I did have, like I said, I had a background. It kind of grew, I had an art background. I was going into fashion design. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. And what was I saying? So I had that. I was toll painting. I did maybe a craft class. I did, different classes. I learned a little bit of skills even in doll paint, in doll making class. Learning how to really wash the colors and the subtleness and stuff like that, to do the blush tones and eyes and, all that fun stuff. So everyone starts somewhere. And what's nice is that we have, YouTube and Facebook and all these avenues that I didn't. I ended up, taking classes. I took certification courses in Florida with a product company. Then I went and took a master course in Kentucky on, with the faux graining and marbling and things like that. So, it did grow. Let's see. Furniture. Did it freeze? Uh-oh. Are you okay now, Shannon? I have sound, right? Barb can still get me, okay. I'm hoping we're good. My internet, I've noticed, has been a little wonky, but it shows that I have internet. So when I'm doing the stencil, if you see my video I did earlier, I talk about what I do to my brush. Before I do anything, I take my fingers, I dip it in a little water, and I wet the outsides of my bristles because that paint likes to just kind of stick onto those dry bristles. And then I wrap the bristles in blue tape so that they don't spread out. It's just a quick little TikTok video. And so this is a lot of people just roll it on, they tap it on. I do that sometimes too, depending on where I'm at in the project and trying to get the paint maybe a little more intensified, or maybe I feel like I have too much paint and I can test it by tapping it on. And I just have a little bit of transfer paper here as a palette, but my preferred method is to swirl it on. So I don't like to work with a lot of paint, and I'm just trying to really rub it in there. Trying to concentrate maybe on these bigger pieces going around the edges. And then where it's smaller details, I'm just trying to vary it a little bit. I like that a stenciling where if it's big open spots, like some sunflowers and things like that, to take a smaller brush and do like what I'm doing with these petals is kind of work toward the outside, and it gives you that sort of 3D effect, especially if it's a layered stencil, like it comes in like 3 parts and you put one over the other, and it can give you a really cool look. I would do it that way to customers' homes. I would be there for weeks with I was someone's kitchen. We went over the cabinets, on the backsplash, and it was a large kitchen. And so, but to me, it's just so worth it to get, it's more of a custom look, I think. And plus, when you're doing furniture, it doesn't give you those really high raised edges. So that's good. All right, so. And then I take this into the sink and I try to use like our finishing pad, maybe a light little nylon brush, keeping it flat on the bottom of the sink, and I'll wash this stencil. Because we don't like to waste. We don't want this to keep throwing this out. And I have some stencils that are, from the 90s that I still have a pile of them. And there was some big projects where by the end of them, a few days of work, and you're using some plasters and you're doing this and that. So there's somewhere these little fine details broke, and I would just take even the finest little piece of blue tape or something, or even Scotch tape, and just sort of tape it up and bridge it again. If you have a lot going on in a stencil, you're not going to see that one little bridge that you fixed. All right, so that's it, right? Easy. Not frozen here, never lost sound. All right, thank you, ladies. Shannon, it's on you. Sorry. Sorry. I'm the bearer of bad news. Did you see, Bobby? I got another pumpkin princess. Jackie Bates, she was just here. I was going to go on at 5. And then, of course, Joe called, and Jackie was here. And so we got pushed off a little bit. That's okay. We're all here. And then, I had put this little piece of tape here just so, even though it's the same as my base color, I didn't want to have like a raised difference there. And whenever I do drawers, I don't waste the paint. I don't try and get a perfect finish. Don't forget, this is going to be covered with undies or socks or the whatevers, right? Well, this is a vanity, so there's going to be a bunch of makeup and stuff in here. So it's all going to be covered anyways, but just because it wasn't a pretty bottom to this, and you know, we have different woods sometimes, or you get the different stains over the years, this is what I do. I just clean it up, and most times I don't even take the time to prime it, unless it's like a real bleeder. But even like mahogany pieces, the drawers won't be mahogany. They're not going to waste the mahogany on the drawers. So, I mean, you can prime the fronts, but that's it. All right, so molds. All right, we're going to put that into the water. I think hopefully we're done stenciling. We'll find out, right? You know, it's always a fun game here. And of course, I didn't bring out the molds. And I am an IOD stockist, but between us friends, they don't have a lot of nautical things. There's just not a lot. So, between us friends, it's not like I sell them, but I do have some Zuri molds. So these are seahorses. I didn't use that for this. I think I might have put one in the big collage. And then we have a nautilus, we have a crab, we have a cool little starfish, but they're really cool. They're like very intricate, okay? And I'm going to use, of course, so we already have this. This is going to go on here. And we're going to add a couple more. So this is going to be a little bit wonkadoodle. I had to do a marriage of the two ideas. So my molds on the original piece were done in I don't even think I just sealed them, and we did a wash of the blue over them. So the clay is white, and then I did the wash of the blue. But the hardware was gold, and since I put the knob into this mold with the resin, all right, that is the hardware. So it is gold, but the other pieces are going to be white that we're going to trail off from that. I do what I do. Don't ask. So now I just want to kind of piece together what I'm going to do. I mean, there's some small ones here, but I don't think I'm going to use those. We'll use this small scallop, maybe the starfish, and we have that. We don't need big ones. Although I have a different idea. We're gonna, because the cameo that was on the original piece, they were kind of layered. So we're gonna do a couple of the bigger ones, not the ginormous ones, but the bigger ones. And some of the small ones, and kind of do a little layering. It did, but you know what? We're taking it one step further, Shannon. I notice I've been holding it oddly. It's because I've got the stick with me on there. So it's got the adhesive, so we're gonna put some foil on that. And then I've got the charger over there that I got all the beading done on the rim. So we're gonna and I put the adhesive on that. It's painted and it's got the adhesive, so we're gonna get that done. So Barb, have you done anything with molds or stamps or transfers or any of this kind of stuff, or do you just strictly paint? And maybe, like, what's your thing? Do you do nautical? Do you distress? A lot of people here like the prim and proper. The people in Hyannisport, white and gloss, full coverage gloss white, old school, for the most part. It's not fun for me, but, you know, to each their own. So, you know, I keep eyeballing this and this one, so I'm going to do those two. And then we'll do the small scallop, because this scallop is pretty, but we'll do the small scallop and then the starfish, and that'll be it. You love some of them, right? I mean, you know me, I am Team IOD. But I feel slighted, I'm not going to lie. Like, they made it a big deal because, you know, when they came out with the seashells mold and the seashore stamp that year, when they revealed it to the stockists, I was, you know, like a lot of times when I'm watching people, I'm not really watching. I've got it on and I'm doing things. I'm doing the stuff, right? And I hear Josie saying, Linda, Seaporium, Linda, where are you? You're gonna like this. So I, you know, I went running to my phone to see what was happening, and we finally got some. And I think that was the year. Was that the year we had exploration too, or is that after? Maybe after. But yeah, like I'm always in the feed where the stock, you know, for the stockists, you know, what are your customers looking for? Ideas, you know, whatever it is, you know, you have an idea or a special request, you put it on this one feed that they have, this one post. It's like whenever someone else is saying anything nautical, yes, nautical, hello, nautical, me, nautical. And the couple times that we've gotten nautical things, they didn't last long. Like the seashell stamp, that should just be like kindest regards if you ask me. No, but they retired it, and I'm waiting for them to retire this. They had the Sea Sisters mold. I'm sure they're going to retire that. The Sea Queen, the transfer, have you guys seen that one? Barb, I am totally opposite of the country from you. I'm on Cape Cod. I don't know if you know Cape Cod. I was excited. Let's see. Let's see. So you're into blending and you do molds. Okay, that's Barb. So awesome. I love the molds, no doubt. And I was afraid to use them at first. I was, I'm not gonna lie. I prefer this one starfish. So we're just gonna put the mold in, pull it nice and flat on the back. Of course, it popped out of the mold, so I'm sure I made a mess of it. If you're new to molds, anyone watching, a lot of people, Barb, are watching on the down low. They don't like to comment, I have found, because there's been people that come in and says, I watch you on the videos, and I'll say, okay, what's your name? And it'd be, I never heard of you before. It's because I don't say nothing. I don't say anything. I just watch. You know, like I sit here feeling like I'm talking to myself. You know, some good conversations can happen that way, but you know, it is winter on Cape Cod. Okay. So, you know, it's a thing. You need to get the mermaid mold. Yes. Because, girl, I'm telling you, I'm sure it's on a limited run now because it's been out for a little while. But the Sea Queen mold, I mean, the transfer, dear Lord, like, I thought that was drop dead gorgeous, right up there with Gypsy Queen, like, that was, and it was gone, I think it was gone in a year. They already retired it or something. It was stupid crazy. I was so upset with that. So without making a mess of my other one here, because I've got clay mess on my hands. So let's see. You know, I think I don't need to make any more. Let's just play with what we got. So let's put some. like that maybe. And like that. No, we will do it this way. If I have to use caulk, I will. I think that'll look nice. And then it'll get a wash on it. So instead of holding you up and making you watch me sit there, glue everything, I'm just gonna glue one side and show you how I do this. So Barb, I don't know what your preferred medium is for the molds, but I do a lot of this layering, and I put it on legs, and I do a lot of different things to them. And so I am always manipulating the clay and stretching it out, and if you don't settle with it, it cracks. I don't tend to use a lot of resin because I like the quick satisfaction of the clay. But I did use resin on this knob because it extends past the original wooden knob. So thank you. Shannon says she loves it. So I am not only pressing down, Barb, and I'm sorry if you already know this, but I'm going to say it anyways in case someone watching doesn't know. I'm not only pressing down, but I'm going to press it in on itself. Because remember when we pulled that clay back? What that does is it's like stretching the clay. Even though it's inside the mold, it's getting all stretched in there. And then I pulled it out, and then we kind of playing with it on here, and it's getting all stretched out and distressed. And so as it gets to settle for the night and it dries, it apparently has some sort of memory, and it wants to go back to where it was supposed to be. We stretched it, and it doesn't like it. This Tight Bond Quick and Thick works super well for gluing the molds. After about 5 minutes, it's going to be really hard to move these. Now, if I put an excessive amount of glue on, it won't be necessarily in my favor because it'll take longer for it to set up, and it's kind of wasteful. It's a multi-surface glue, so we were actually testing it out on these chargers because I would normally use like a silicone glue. So here's the fun part, Barb, is when I'm doing the gluing for this particular one. Let's see if I can get you close up. I don't know if you're familiar with these, but see the details on that starfish? There's these super fine little, tiny little bumps, even smaller than those little dots that you see. They're super tiny. And I don't want to lose the detail. We're gonna be trying to press this down without losing the detail, or maybe just kind of create our own to kind of complement it anyways. So let's see what we have. I almost think that I should get like a pen for this because I could put maybe a pen around these little dots, right? To push down. Trying to get so I can push down that center without smushing the darn thing. Because if you can have very little gap underneath, you're going to have a lot more success of it not breaking. See, now I already lost some of the details. So I'm going to just kind of sit there and tap on some little bumps. Bump, 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 bump. That's the one thing I don't like about this. It's my favorite one, but it's so easy to lose the details. We're fudging it. That's okay. All right. So I'll do the same thing to this one. It won't be as hard to do as this because I got a little more leeway with these ribs on the scallop. And we'll set that aside. And let's do our foil on our knob now. Like I said, when that's dry, I can come in tomorrow and I can do a fix. I got a project with a fix from last night. You'll see in a minute. So I'll do my fixes if I have to caulk. If it's furniture, so I do like to caulk. If it's like I'm doing pumpkins or something, obviously pumpkins aren't carved like that. So I don't worry so much unless it's drastic lifting. But furniture pieces, I do want that all kind of seamless because it's furniture, all right? It's not a little craft piece. All right, now, and then I'll seal that up when everything's dry, and I'll take a wash of this base color blue, or that isn't it, this one, and then wipe it back after it's sealed. Then I can wipe it off and let it sit in all those little details and seal it up, and that'll be done. Let's see. Bobby says you gotta get ready for bed. Okay. Oh, our granddaughter has mass tomorrow. She's speaking part. Ooh. Is she gonna be nervous? Good luck. Good luck to your granddaughter, honey. Good night. Thank you for jumping on. All right, so for this, we already have, I base coated, I did hit slick stick after it was, I took the original knob, I set it into the silicone once it started to get a little thicky. As soon as I started seeing a little bit of white on the bottom of the mold, I put the knob in and sort of held it. And then once I felt like it was going to hold its own, I went ahead and just pushed it the rest of the way down. And then, so now that knob is really part of the mold. And painted it, I primed it in slick stick. So I don't always, but for furniture, I like to prime my resin pieces because I feel like even the chalk style paints, they stick to everything. This is like a plastic, and I find especially the shiny part on the back, it's not necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't necessarily hold on to the paint well, I guess. All right, so now with the foil, I put the shiny side up. And we're just going to start working this in. We're not going to get into all the details because it's not going to, I kind of just set it on top. We'll get in there. But I already have a similar base color, so if we don't get every little nook and cranny, it shouldn't show. Okay. So let's see. Hopefully it dried long enough because I put a lot on. Ooh. So the original knobs, I said oof like a good thing because it's really pretty. The original knobs were more of a Olympic gold. They're kind of like a soft gold. But I don't have that paint that they had in the original knobs with the other pieces. So I'm just doing with what we do have. I have the foils on the legs of the other piece, and I have I had the foils somewhere else on something on the details, I think. So that's what I'm doing. At least this will match to that. Okay. Oh, no, this is another piece. So it's happening, Barb, is I'm confusing my pieces. There's another piece that we're going to get out here in a second. And she was inspired by this original piece, the dresser that I was talking about. So she ended up buying back her piece that she had donated to me that was done in a different style. But then brought me another piece from her home for me to paint that would go with the other piece that she bought, but be a lot like this lady's piece that I did. So, you know, I've been doing a lot of this look for the past couple of months. And it's hard to get work done here now. It's been going even slower, I think, because it's, by the time it warms up here, and I did break down. I put on my floor heat today. It just, you know, when your nose is red and someone comes in and goes, oh, it's not a good sign. They're supposed to do that when they go out, not come in. Just, you know. All right, so tomorrow, I'll do that tomorrow, Barb. And I typically go on I'm not a morning person. I never get here on time. And I don't mean to be like I don't care about my business. It's a family sickness. No one in my mother, my father was horrible. We literally tried everything we could to get separate invitation just to send to my dad's house that gave an hour earlier time for my wedding, like, because even though we would beg him to be on time, I knew there was no way he was going to be on time. And he wasn't. Because, you know, he could get a quick golf game in. You know, God love him. All right. Good. You're like my sister from another mother. I have a tough time going to sleep at night. My brain starts to go, but, you know, it doesn't get going until the afternoon. So it kind of runs with the heat here. You know. But, you know, I don't want to sound too miserly, but if I try to keep my heat at a decent heat here, it's like 62 to 65 degrees, maybe put it down to 59 at night is what I did the one year, and I was paying about $600 in the 2 months there in the winter, $400, $600, because it's 1977 electric baseboard heat in an all cement building. Yeah, so, and it's actually cold early this year, so I know I've got my bill is not going to be cheap this year. So, isn't that pretty? Let me see if I can zoom in. I have to take it off of this to do that. There. It's so glam and so pretty. You had to get up at 3:30 to 4 a.m. Oh, I would rather just stay up. Just, you know, just putting that out there in the world. So let me grab my other pieces really quick. So these are the IOD pieces. And since I have the foil out, we will do that. I gotta keep an eye on my battery. This one's good for a little while. Let me see this one. We're good, okay. So Barb, this is the thing with my fancy microphones. Stuff either goes wrong or I have brain farts and I forget to turn things on. So here's the one we did, and it just dawned on me, Shannon, I think. I didn't actually do any transfer for the IOD TV one, did I? I never got back to it. I had a whole nother charger there, and I thought to myself after, it didn't even dawn on me till today. And I looked at it like, why did I have 3 chargers set aside? I knew I was going to do one with the mold. Why did I have 3 chargers set aside? Because I didn't show how to do the actual transfer last night. That's okay. That's okay. You know. So here's the fix. So as you know, if you watched the video last night, this mold went through a lot. And even though I did dot my I's and cross my T's, I thought, by pressing it inward, but by the time we actually glued it, so I pulled it off, put it on, pulled it off, put it on, you know, pulling it out of the mold, putting it onto another piece, it did get stretched a lot. So it doesn't surprise me this happened, but we'll fix that. I'm not disappointed with that. That is fixable. And this, I started playing with other colors that I want to add to blend into my transfer, but I've got some foil to put on my beading. So I mixed aubergine with a bit of peony to get this more of a plum color, because aubergine is more of a deep, deep grape. What did I just do with the foil? Did I not just have the foil? No, here's one piece. Where's the roll? Okay. So with foils, I don't know, Barb, if you've used the foils, you can keep using it and keep putting it over. It's like leaf. You can just keep putting leaf over until all the adhesive is covered. So if you really wanted to be super miserly, you could just constantly go over it to use up every little bit of gold so that there's no gold left on the carrier sheet. Or the silver. We have it in silver, we have it in copper, and now garnet, which is a red, which is awesome for the holidays. It is. It's so glam. So like I said, that Jackie Bates, she came in today, and she had to grab her dog in the back here, and she walked by, she saw it on the table, and she was, oh, this is what? So that foil is amazing. I said, I know. I haven't found, not that I shop a lot, because I just find myself so busy with what I have here. I got a huge laundry list of things I want to get to and to try and buy, and more decoupage papers, at least for myself to play with, but I just never get the time, and it's not like I'm ever looking for something to do. There's been a couple times where I wish I had a couple different papers here, but I'll get busy with it. And I want to buy for myself the Painterly paints, those by DIY, just for myself to use. Just because they're really pretty, they're really vivid, and I can just do some of this painting with them. Now, I have to be careful because, like I said, the cape is, you know, very old school, and anything with color will sit. And we talked a little bit about that last night, right, Shannon? Barb says, I've used size and sheets of leaf. So, the nice thing about the foil is, especially if you're working on like a ceiling or a vertical surface, and you've got the leaf and you're sitting there trying to get it right up there without it breaking, and you put it up on the wall or up on the ceiling, and then you dust it with your little soft little fluffy brush, and all this leaf comes flying, and then someone opens the door and the leaf goes everywhere. It doesn't happen with the foils. Just, you know, just putting that out in the world. I don't know if I'll ever use leaf again. And I don't know if you're familiar with, but like Artsyville, she has so many different paints. Foils. Ones with, what's it called? Portia, I believe. And it comes in like a very translucent gold rose pattern. Hello, sign me up. I just haven't gotten to ordering it yet. But that's how that's going to work. I don't know what happened to my roll of leaf, but that's okay. You can see what's going to happen, right? So you size. Yes, there is, where is it? It's called Stick With Me with Dixie Belle. And what I like about this, all right, I've used the Artsyville adhesive. And this is what she does. Like, she sells the heck out. That's what she does with foils. But for some reason, when I do the stamps, it's most of the time a little clumpy. You don't get all the details. So I was pleasantly surprised. First of all, it was kind of an experiment to see how it would come out on the plastic. But the details, it came out really fine. I was a little concerned because the first time I tried to use it, it did come out kind of sloppy. And so I wiped it off, cleaned it really good, and stamped again. But this time not having much on there. And I said, well, what have I got to lose? If it doesn't show up, then we'll sand it down and paint it. That's all. But it came out so nice, and it grabs this shine foil really, really, really nice. So I am really happy with the Stick With Me. Just, you know, putting it out there. So that is that. Oh, the paint. So I have decided for this background, I kind of really like, so the background is mostly sandbar, okay? And when I do my second coat, we're going to do a little blending, believe it or not, I think with a little bit of Spanish moss. And I thought chocolate was going to be it, but I don't think it's chocolate. I'm going to do a really watery version of Gravel Road. All right, so I did this after my first coat. And what I'm noticing here is, so I scratched up the edge of my transfer before I put it down, but I have some loose bits that kind of came and set onto my plate. And when I painted over it, I could see the bumps. So what I mean is, I took the transfer, and before I transferred it on, I turned it upside down, carefully pulled back the white paper, and just kind of took the scissors or my nail and sort of scratched off the edge so it wasn't like just perfect straight lines like it was in a lot of the parts. And yeah. So I think for this, we're just going to, let's start to get an idea how this is going to happen. We won't get this done. Let's do an area. Let's just do a little area. I have palettes somewhere right here. Going to grab this. This is a really nice tan color. It's what I did that coffee bar in. For like a nice tan, I think it's my favorite. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I pulled it off my inventory, so I better open it. I pulled off some French linen. I think that was going to be my ticket. What did I do with it? Oh, it's over there. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, I didn't put this back on. You know. Thank you, Barb. It is pretty, right? So I have another charger that I want to do that foil behind the tree. So I don't think we're going to have time tonight. Maybe tomorrow we'll start that one. I shouldn't be doing any more of these. It's not like we have people coming in. It's really been dead this year. But it's just, you know, when you get the idea, you got to do it. You got to go with it. That's it. All right, so I think that might be my ticket right there. And I'm actually going to bank on it. I'm not going to do the gravel road and Spanish moss. If need be, I do a third layer, that's all. And we'll get a little brush. I would use a chip brush, but it's such a small area. Let's do a little bit of this. All right. And maybe I end up sealing this part and doing like a tap blend, like almost like ragging, right? With like a small round brush or something. But let's just see. Maybe sort of cross hatch that on. Yeah, I think that's my ticket right there. So glad I thought of French linen. I haven't actually used this color yet. Again, because everyone here likes to use white or white gray or gray, just not a dark gray. I got a dresser sitting there forever that's a dark gray. It's gorgeous, right, Shannon? That's going to be really pretty. Okay. Little taps. Sort of soften with this. And I think that's going to be pretty darn close when it's dry. If not, we'll figure it out on another layer. So that's that. Okay, that's how that's going to come together. And then this, let's do our fix, and then I'll end the video with our silk painting. I really like the silk mineral paint. It's got a really nice matte finish, but if you're not comfortable with kind of old school painting, if you've been really spoiled with chalk painting or you're a real beginner, I don't suggest the silk. But as long as you've painted trim in your house, you'll get how to use silk. But it'll save you top coat when you're doing the sides of a piece. I always add gator hide to the top. And if I don't have gator hide, I'll put more coats of satin on it. So to do this fix with the molds, I could put caulk in there, and maybe some of these fine parts I might. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of glue and kind of let it work in here. And some of the really fine ones, it's not going to matter when we paint this, I don't think. What we want to be careful of is we don't lose, if we see all the smoothness wherever this glue is going, we're gonna see that it was fixed, is what I'm saying. There's so much, you know, there's a certain pattern of texture here that you want to kind of match it. So you don't want to just press in a smooth coat of caulk or clay. And I just had the clay. I was putting it away because I wasn't thinking, as usual, as per usual. Or you take a deep breath and it goes all over. Oh yeah, exactly. You're breathing in the leaf. Yeah, you take a deep breath in and it's like, that's it. Or you exhale. It's like, uh-oh. Lord forbid you sneeze with the leafing, yes. Yes, it's beautiful. I think like a little contrast, the all gloss white. You know, you don't understand. They got white walls, they got white floors, they got white furniture, and then they want gloss white furniture. Like, I don't understand. But they'll put down a Claire Murray rug. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Then I got one, I'm not going to say who. It's a rather famous person. And in the home, they have some nice family photos screwed to the wall. I don't understand. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And a ping pong table in the living room overlooking the ocean. It's not for me to know. No judgy. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of tap this in. So I'm taking the clay in these little fine tubes and we're just putting it in those bigger cracks. You don't even know the half of it. We just roll with it here, you know, like. One of the homes in Highport there, you know, historical Highport, we call Hyannisport Highport. And the lady who used to have a shop here, and again, I'm not judging, but she used to say, you got to turn them and burn them, you know, burn them and turn them, whatever, turn them and burn them, yeah. So she would just pump out the paint and whatever, just do it and get it done. Sell it cheap. But actually, I don't think she sold it that cheap. She could paint better, but she didn't. And I was in one of those homes in Highport, and it was obviously one of hers. And it had plastic hardware on it. And she's like, this one, the knob broke. Do you have another one? And I was like, it's not mine. And I do not have that. I don't have that. Yes, it's Highport, Hyport. That's not, don't go there, Esmeralda. How are you doing, doll? Although I see where you're going with it. I see where you're going with it, girl. So, see, like, you can't tell where I did my fixes because we're adding the texture as we do this. Right, Shannon? Naughty, naughty Esmeralda. You're good, good. We're having fun tonight, doing bunches of different little things. It's finally getting warm in here because I finally put on my floor heat. You know. But it's been hard to get stuff done when you can't feel your fingers very well. So anyone watching, if you're in the area and you want some furniture, come check out what I've got. Whether it's painted or if it's a thrift piece, it's half off now. So I want to thin it out because if whatever I'm doing, I got to get into a place with some better heat. So something's going to happen one way or another here. You know, things are still in discussion, but Joe's like, I don't want to move all this stuff. But, you know, as like you guys, Barb, like you can understand, Esmeralda, I know you know, like there's pieces here that would look so pretty painted. And I had ideas for them. But, you know, there's always more furniture. Did you know what I mean, though? Let's see. What else we got over here? I got some glue. What's up for you, Esmeralda? Are you getting ready for Christmas? You're all done? Wow, what? What? Did I miss something? What did I say? What's the wow? I don't understand. You're confusing me now, girl. Doesn't take much. And I want to keep this clay cupped in my hand, at least while it's open. I'm trying to be mindful. Didn't do a great job there, but okay. And up here a little bit. Put it back in the bag, maybe the rest here. What's the wow for? Did I do what? Did I say something? Are we talking about the high port? All right, so how have things been in Central Mass? Been dead ducks here. Okay. One more tiny little piece. Itsy bitsy little piece. All right, so almost done. And now no one's gonna know that those fixes happened. I got a little fine crack there. Let's show you how I can do that with the caulk. The good news is actually I don't see any lifting. Not worth caulking. There's a tiny bit here, and the little bits that maybe there's glue to the edge, so I really don't need to caulk this piece. So if I'm using caulk to fix, again, you want to try and get it right in there, just like the glue. And you don't want it to be smooth there. You don't want to smooth out these pretty details, so try and scrape out those pine needles or, you know, the details of your molding or whatever it is that you're fixing. And if I was caulking this, we're going to hopefully hit this tomorrow, Barb, is you know, I would do a fine tube of that and then work my way down, all right? A lot of times I start with just my finger, I'll have it damp, and just kind of push it into those details, then go down to my pinky, and then you maybe wipe it. You make sure you don't want it to set onto your flat surface because you will see it. And especially this caulk, it's the Alex Plus by DAP. It's a fast dry caulk. Whatever caulk you do use, you want it to be paintable because we're going to be painting, right, and sealing and stuff. And if you're using anything for outdoors, you want to get it exterior grade quality. So we'll let that dry and we'll play with this again tomorrow. All right, now you can't even tell where we did the fixes, right? That's the idea, Shannon. See, I notice I put my drill holes in for this, so we'll put some ribbon in there. And then let me just grab my table and we'll start the silk. Because you know what, if I don't do it with you guys, Joe will call me and say, come home. Which I gotta get home because my son's coming over, or he's probably over there. But you know, tomorrow will be half a day before I'm warm enough to work again, so this is the cute little, isn't this a cute little piece? And if you follow my little quick videos, oh, you're not, I'm not on the right view. Hold on, ladies. See, Barb, this is how I roll. A lot of brain farts. At least I caught myself this time, right? So there we go. So that's our little piece. And the color we're using, the silk, is salt water. So this, like I said, it works very much like a latex. The prep has to be good. It's not like a chalk paint where you can kind of cheat and maybe just clean a piece and paint it, or tack sand it and clean it and paint it. You want to make sure you get all the steps off, okay? Mineral oil to get all the polishes off, and then hit it, get that rinsed off, and then hit it with the alcohol to make sure you got it all off. Let that dry, and then you can just paint it. But I did a lot of sanding on this, and I wasn't sure, you know, when you go to bare wood, you never know what surprises you get, what's going to bleed through, right? So I'm going to try and put just back a little bit more. I did prime it with the Boss, and Dixie Belle has 2 primers. Boss is for blocking tannins, blocking odors, and it comes in 3 colors. It comes in the white, clear, and gray. So gray you can use for blacks and reds, and the gray, deeper grays and things like that. Or you could use the clear, because you know it'll be the color of your wood when it's dry. Or if you're going to distress, you can use the clear and just distress down to that. And then the white is obviously for your light colors. So I see maybe a little tinge of some bleed here, but because this does have 1 coat of Boss in it, basically, it's good. We're good. It's not a heavy bleed there. And let me get another little popsicle stick and get some paint out. So I shook it up, and then you want to make sure you stir it up, especially when it's a full jar. This is one of those, it's like the heavy-duty primers, like our Slick Stick, right? Or the Gator Hide, the top coat. It's the heavy-duty stuff that you want to make sure you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's, that all the ingredients are mixed up well. Now, it was originally stated that it doesn't like to be used with water, but I've been hearing, Esmeralda, have you been playing with the silk more than I have? I mean, I keep doing it how they said to do it. Have you tried adding, using like a damper brush maybe? I've even heard people say they do a really fine mist of a little water. Because what happens is it does set fast, just like a latex. Oh, I forgot to bring a synthetic bristle brush, but I do have a scarlet brush handy, so we'll just use this. It's the first coat. If I have to, I'll just give it a light sand. But after the video, I'll grab my oval brush. I love the oval brush. It's a nice oval, really fine bristle, thick, packed thick with, you know, the bristles, but they're real fine on the ends. It's my go-to brush, especially when using silk. So it can leave you some high lows with the brush strokes. Even if you try to be, you know, ever so careful. And actually I'm going to grab my little chamois too, make sure we don't have any lint on here. 1 second. Okay. Put this aside. Always keep it in the bag. And it's, again, like I said, they always say to not use water with it. So with a dry brush, I could have maybe just dampened like I did with the stencil brush, but it cleans up really nice, especially if you're using the scrubby soap. Love that stuff. And I'm just going to tip this so we can kind of see and I can reach better. You're going to want to, so if you're going to hit the sides, don't let that set up, okay? You want to hit your sides, make sure you're crossing over, because your brush stroke this way on your flat surface will show. It'll set up like a latex does. So I try to just kind of go right over the sides in the same direction, depending on the piece, and don't overwork it. Okay? Well, it looks like I got a little something in the prime coat there, so I'll have to sand that and fix it. There's a little bump of something there. So these were old pieces that they take a lot of prep from this particular place. Whoever was their painter, I'm assuming someone in her family, they're all painted the same paint colors and the same interesting paints. Painted right over loose veneer. So are these going to be, is this going to be perfect? No, I'm expecting to find, you know, we're going to have maybe some parts that just got missed in sanding, maybe isn't as smooth as part of it. But the good news is this is only for the top. Oh, Barb, you're going to want to pay attention tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my pulled paint technique. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do it as a YouTube, because I don't have that as a YouTube video yet. So we'll have that done, and you can watch our page or subscribe to us on YouTube. To catch how I do the pulled paint technique. If you haven't seen that yet, I use the Iron Orchid Design paint blade and drip on some colors, and then I just pull it together like a trowel. All right. And the nice thing about this is it's going to dry really nice and matte. And on the sides of the piece, after 2 coats, it's going to have 2 top coats basically on. So if you're good with 2 top coats, you don't need to protect it anymore. All right, easy peasy. It goes on like butter. And you can see I'm going to have more than enough to do this table for with that little bit, okay? And then this brush, I'll just take it to the sink and clean it with water. It's a water base, even though it has the primer and everything built in. But I am curious, something's happening with Dixie Belle. They're making an announcement, and I think it has to do with primers. Because we haven't been able, I guess, to order, my last order I got primers. They had this, again, Slick Stick in the Boss. Slick Stick is to stick to glossy metal, ceramic, formica, plastic, you know, surfaces. And the Boss blocks. So we're always using one or the other, and they haven't been able to get them. So in the latest video with the owner and her CEO, they're doing some announcement tomorrow, and it had to do with the primers. So I'm very curious. I'm kind of thinking maybe they found a way that they have an all-in-one primer. Wouldn't that be cool? Where you could just use the one primer, it'll block it, and it'll stick to everything. All right, and then we're gonna let that dry. Right? I'll finish the rest, but it's gonna be easy peasy. I think I did everything I wanted to do tonight, and I gotta finish up before my stuff all dries. And I'm gonna hopefully catch you guys. Let's see, let me get caught up with comments. Let's see, it's crazy good. I can't see where any cracks were. All right, no more new comments. All right, you guys. I'll jump on tomorrow afternoon, evening, and we'll caulk. We'll show you how the pulled paint comes out, and we'll probably add stripes, because this is going to be like that in a different way. Because, you know. Anyways, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching on replay, please, please, please ask any questions. I get back to you. And if you're so inclined, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, share, sprinkle, whatever you want to call it, please. That would help me out greatly. And shop Seaporium.com for ironworker design and Dixie Belle products, and some local goodies too. Thank you so much. Oh, our Cape Cod Sea Scent soaps and lotions, handmade, all natural, are on sale, 20% off.